ministers, if I can ask you to look straight ahead for 8 seconds. Thank you very much.
Binna Chung from Yonhap News Agency, South Korea. Secretary General, you have urged Korea to increase its military support to Ukraine when you visited Korea last January, and saying that some countries have changed their policy to send weapons directly to Ukraine after the war. And did you raise this among today's discussion as well? And I would like what was Korea's response if you had. And regarding, if I may ask another one, regarding the NATO's non-lethal assistance package, which Japan has recently pledged, did the Vice Minister of Korea express his intention for a contribution as well today? Thanks.
First of all, I think it's for Korea to provide exact answers on their positions and what they do. What I can say is that it was a big issue when I visited Korea in January, and I've also raised it again, and I welcome the fact that South Korea has made it clear that they are ramping up production. And we need to understand that, that it helps that South Korea is ramping up production and delivering also to NATO allies, because then we can replenish our own stocks. And South Korea is a big producer of ammunition. And the fact that they are now delivering more and producing more to replenish the stocks of NATO allies enable us to continue to deliver to Ukraine. So I will, I will not go into the issue of exactly how or to whom South Korea should deliver. My main message is that by providing more aid to or not aid, but also supplies of ammunition to NATO allies, they enable us to continue to support Ukraine, and I welcome the announcements made from South Korea on that.
Okay, Rai?
Thank you. My question is about migrants. Did you talk with Italian Foreign Minister Tajani about this problem? What can NATO do in that part of the Mediterranean? Thank you so much.
Well, in the meeting we had today, the issue of migration was part of the discussion, especially when we addressed the challenges emanating from the Middle East and North Africa. And of course what NATO does, and this is also something I've discussed with the Italian Foreign Minister, with the Italian Prime Minister several times, is that we are helping to support the efforts of individual allies, but also of the European Union. We have a NATO naval presence in the Aegean Sea to help to implement the agreement between Turkey and the EU on illegal migration. We are working with partners in the Middle East and North Africa. We have our presence, our training mission in Iraq to try to address the root causes. A stable Iraq, a stable Middle East is of course important also to address the root causes of the migrant challenges that Europe is facing. And we are also stepping up our cooperation and support to countries like Tunisia and Mauritania. And then, of course, we are exchanging information, we are helping each other as NATO allies. But the migrant and refugee issue is, of course, something that has to be addressed with many different tools. Many of them are outside the NATO mandate, but some of them are, and we are working with countries, Iraq, Mauritania, and others, to help to address the root causes.
Okay, Bloomberg.
Natalia Drozdiak from Bloomberg. Thank you for the question. I'm wondering whether NATO still believes that China holds sway over Russia with regards to the war in Ukraine, especially after Russia announced plans to station nuclear weapons in Belarus days after it had signed a declaration with China saying countries shouldn't station weapons abroad. Thank you.
So what we know is that Russia is more and more dependent on China. Trade with China has become even more important for Russia. not least because of the economic sanctions and the consequences of the war in Ukraine. I also believe that the announcement that they will deploy tactical weapons, nuclear weapons, to Belarus just after they signed an agreement stating the opposite, just shows that these are empty promises, and what we need to watch closely is actually what Russia is doing, and that's exactly what NATO allies are monitoring closely. So far, we haven't seen any changes in the Russian nuclear posture that requires any changes in our posture, but we remain vigilant. We will follow closely what they do, and we have increased our presence in the eastern part of the alliance to remove any room for misunderstanding, miscalculation in Moscow about NATO's readiness to protect and defend all allies. And we do that not to provoke a conflict, but to prevent the conflict, to prevent any military attack on NATO allies.
Okay, we'll take one last question from Politico.
Thank you very much, Lily from Politico. Secretary General, did ministers discuss the arrest and continued detention of Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovic, and did they discuss any concrete steps or actions that they can take to help secure his immediate release? Thank you.
My message is that the Wall Street Journal journalist should be released, and this is about freedom of the press and the importance of journalists to be able to operate and to ask difficult questions and to do their work. And many of the allies have expressed exactly the same call on Russia.
Thank you very much, colleagues.